Alright guys, welcome back. Thanks for tuning in again. Another video. For those new to the channel, I'm building a beautiful, to me, full-size Sopwith Camel powered by Rotec 2800, which reminds me I need to service it. Watch along and we'll see what we get up to this week. Alright, excuse the pile of rubbish. I had a bit of a spring clean. I seem to collect every bit of wood that's left over, thinking, you know, how much wood do you really need? Cleaned up down the side here because eventually I'll hang up the elevator and rudder and that'll go back on the wall. It's going to be a bit sad when I pull it apart. What I did find, it's very easy to get distracted. The other day there, a few of the boys over, we pulled out the fuel tank, which was good to know. I need to be careful because if I keep building, I won't be able to get the fuel tank actually into the aircraft. It does sort of fit through these triangles, but then the dash, if the dash was installed, that would stop it. It's a tight fit, that's what I'm trying to say. Fuel tank probably needs to go in sooner rather than later, probably before the firewall goes on. But I'm getting off track, so I've got to stay in my lanes. There's so much from there forward that I need to think about that let's not think about it right at this stage. Because what I want to do is stay in my lane. That's just a bowling analogy, if you like. And finish back here. The wings, the struts, and things like that. And then we'll slowly work forward to the headache up the front there. It won't be a headache, but it's just a lot. You know, fuel system, oil system, electronics. What have I got? Airspeed, RPM, altitude, CHT, EGT, oil pressure, oil temp, fuel pumps, oil pumps, magnetos, skid ball. That's just off the top of my head. Battery system, master solenoid. See where I'm going? That'll just get done later on. So, I'm going to revisit the rudder, just check I've got that sweet. I know I've got one of those little shackles on the rudder pedals that needs a bit of attention, a bit of a date with the grinder maybe, and I'll get that done, finish off these panels, we'll see where we're at. Alright, so I just revisited, fixed up my rudder cables so they're nice and sloppy, if you like around the pivot. Cables are tight, and I've got heaps of rudder, but the reason it stops is because the trailing cable gets tight, and I'm just going to live with that. After being in there, ergonomically, you sort of can't twist your ankle much more than that anyway, if that makes sense. So you can push, and then this ankle sort of, yeah. So ergonomically, that's what I get, and the rudder travel is hopefully what you can see back there. Now all reports are the rudder's fairly sensitive. I thought it was fairly docile, but it's fairly sensitive, which is good. Also, speak to the right people, the people that are flying, or one person in particular has told me in flight he only uses about 50 mil of aileron without touching his legs to do his routine, which is a normal flight. So I should be okay on the ailerons. It'd just be nice to have that annotated in the instructions. But I've got no incidents, tail, wings, CG I'll work out for myself. Oh, the CG is documented, sorry. 28% mean average chord. That's about the only dimension I've got. So rudder's okay. Now I'm thinking, because I want to pull this apart soon, and I can't do this once it's covered, I'm going to engineer a rudder trim tab. Now I'm not sure, the cruiser's on the left-hand side. Maybe I should just do it on the left-hand side. I know the propellers, or the prop wash swirls. The speed of this aircraft, I really don't think it's going to matter which side I put it on. But the lever, I think, will be on my left hand, because I fly with my right. I can take my left hand off the throttle if it's pitching down, and I can adjust something down on my left hand side. So maybe the cable just needs to sneak up and down that left hand side. So maybe we'll put it on the left hand side. Doesn't really matter. I might go and look at some other aircraft. Although, let's look at the Cruiser, I guess. It's on the left hand side. So I've got a hinge, just a hardware hinge. So what I'm thinking, I might as well use this rib as I'm going to need to fasten the cable somewhere, so I might as well use this rib. So if I make that the centre, a hinge on there, I'll cut this off. I'll just, I don't know, make 4-inch, 6-inch trim tab, and then a rod similar to my tail wheel down here will sort of snake back into the fuselage, but it also needs to be able to handle and not move the trim tab while the actual main elevator moves, which is crying out for a bit of grease. So, you know, a fixing on the elevator and a fixing on the stab as well, and then route it back into the fuselage. So we'll have a bit of a fiddle with that, bit of a fun job. But as I said, I'll go for a brew with some of the guys, and I'll look at some aircraft trim tabs while I'm doing that. All right, so how I do most of this project, JMSU, just make stuff up. Trim tab, I'm going to nick off the hinge there, just looks a bit long, and I'm only purely guessing. How wide is it? It's as wide as my square, and the radius, you know, it's very technical. It's a toothpick container, because that's the Camel's all round on the tips and round fin, so we make the tab round. Now, sort of looks okay to me. That'll go on there, slightly off centre, so I'm on the straight bit of the trailing edge, as opposed to that curve off to the left there. Now, I might slot this out. So the plan is I'll drill the holes and cleco this, but also, as I keep saying, I've got to make it easy for myself to cover this. So it's easier to have that covered and painted, paint the hinge, and then I will rivet it on. So while I'm saying that, maybe it needs to go on the bottom so you can't see the rivets. Although on the bottom looks a bit second hand, because it's down 1/2 inch. So I think up on top, looks like I'm trying to hide it down there. Just my thoughts. So I put it up on top. I could run it under, pull this rivet out, run it underneath this rib, and then, you know, incorporate it. However, I want to cover the wing while it's like that, rather than have all these teeth of the hinge poking out. I can get, my primary thought is get the covering on and, you know, airworthy. Have the holes pre-drilled in the trailing edge, come along. These are countersunk that way. But I may even put it upside down, I think, so it's flush, so they won't be countersunk anymore. And then this will go back on. I find the holes in the covering, drop the soldering iron in through the holes, rivet it on. I think that's the way to go, and paint this separately. You know what I'm saying? Otherwise it'd be impossible to cover that. Well, not having any experience with covering. So, and just looking at that once again while I'm talking to you guys, it's countersunk on the wrong side to me for my application. So I think I'll put it upside down just to leave the wire portion of the hinge, you know, be aerodynamic. You can see there, if I grab that rivet there, and this isn't flat, it'll make the hinge sort of oil can and not work. Right, so that's how I do it anyway. I just visualise it. Doesn't look too bad. I just think if I fly and you've got a handful of whatever, up or down, what have I gone? I've lowered the tail. So I think I'm going to need down elevator on the test flight. So I'm calling that now because it called for 1 inch standoffs, four of them. I did 1 inch at the back, 1/4 inch at the front. It looks a bit funny at the moment because I've got a big bolt in there. I haven't got the correct size bolt, and I've got a 1/2 inch standoff, but it's on the outside. I'll show you what I'm talking about. See, I've only got 1/4 inch that's actually doing anything. This is purely to fill up the shank on the bolt, the incorrect bolt that's in there. So don't be sort of confused by that. So my thought there was, I may have discussed this before, I've gone lower because I can't shorten these rods now that they're built. They're a solid rod. But I can pack it up with washers, or I'll make proper shims, or the chopping board shim that I've got in there. So 1, 2, 3, 4 spots along the leading edge, and I've got adjustment on the cables. So if I did fly it and it was pitching up, I could raise the leading edge quite easily by, say, just 2 penny washers all the way across, and go and fly it again. However, I don't want to get any surprises when the day comes to actually fly, and you've got a handful of elevator and you can't take your hand off the stick. So even if I only use the elevator trim for that initial test flights, I think it's worth doing and worth having an elevator trim. And in future it might change with power settings or pulling out of a loop. Right, elevator trim tab with the hinge. Now I make up a little horn and go on the bottom, like a little control horn for an RC model. And we're just winging this, see how we go at the end. Right, elevator trim. There's my tab. There's the size of the elevator. I think I've got enough surface area, full and free. I've just done the control horn a la an RC plane. You can see I've stopped short of drilling holes in my 1/2 inch trailing edge. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 holes. I dug out the hinge here for this part. Bear in mind it'll all be covered in fabric, which will raise it up a touch. Now, I could drill these, but I'm still in 2 minds, to be honest. I'm just going to run a cable. This is the tail wheel. And the reason I've put the horn where it is I can attach the cable to this sheet metal on the bottom, there and there. But ultimately we're trying to get into the fuselage. Maybe it needs to snake across. Do I drill a 1/4 inch hole and get the tube up inside this, run it inside here, drill a hole through both spars, and then drop it down into the fuselage? Once again, it comes back to covering. If I didn't have to cover it, I could do that. It's a bit hard to thread a cable through there once it's all covered. Do I separate the cable just here? Maybe I could do that. Cut the outer. Not sure. I'm going to have to run the cable after the fact, I think, after it's all painted. So it's probably better to, well, it needs to be square, and then maybe come across, pick up this one, just to get it closer, because there's a big gap I've got to bridge across there. Snake it around to there, sneak through here and into the fuselage, sort of here somewhere. I need to get the cable and see how much sort of curve I can get into it. Maybe if it's diagonal across there, because you don't want the trim, as the elevator moves, obviously you don't want the trim to move. You want the trim to stay put as it flexes. So I'll think about that. All right, I know a few people have been dying for me to cut this off. So I've trimmed off the trailing edge. You can see that's finished product. So you have this huge gap between fuselage and the wing. I'm not going to have that. So I'm going to make this triangle panel now. And this part I thought I'd keep because it can lock on there. Rivet it there to the panel, and that retains the trailing edge. Perfect. And it'll get cut to length to match the panel. So the big panel, I guess, you'd slide it on to lock it into place there. Can't flap. And then we're going to anchor nut into these pieces that I spent so much time building. So I'll make a cardboard template now to fill this triangle both sides. Alright, craft time. Made myself a paper template for the wing root panel, finally. I'll cut this out, give myself a little bit more. Just get this is the main angle, if you like. Get that all nice, and the cutout for the cable, and we'll see how that looks. Going well. Alright, so we've got the panel on. You can see where I'm going. If I rivet this piece to that, it'll lock on nicely. However, I'm going to be patient and wait till I cover the wing, because this will pucker out a bit with tapes and covering and paint and everything. So if I do it nice and tight and right now, when this is covered in glue and everything, it won't fit. So I think I'll be patient, tape it all together. Once the wing's complete and fitted, final fit, put this on, a couple of rivets out here. So this part will stay with the panel because the wing end's just there somewhere, the trailing edge. And it'll just give me a nice little lock. And even trimming, I'll save the trimming till last. So this will be one of the last pieces to go on the whole aircraft. Did a nice slot, once again, all just rough cut. I've got a nice gap, enough room for some rubber all the way along, and sort of a guess the fuselage straightens out, and that's where it trumpets out there, or ice cream cones out. Now I'm just going to work out whatever I'm happy with, probably about 300. Because this is locked at the back too, you can't get too shallow, it gets very shallow in here to get an anchor nut in there. So, somewhere up here. So I might go 2100 or something like that, 200 or 300 edge distance, get that clecoed. Then the front, on the leading edge, just need to, I'll roll it around tight and right and probably just put one in the bottom here, just to have the airflow. I'll leave this open, I think, just so I can check, that wing bolt, I guess, or I'm just being lazy. Probably just be lazy at the moment. Alright, so that's on there, pretty good. Now the leading edge, I need to elongate the hole a bit to allow this to get to the bottom, and then it ends up at the top, so I can roll the panel around. Now I was going to put an anchor nut on the bottom here, however, same as the trailing edge, it's nice and tight and right, and I'll take this off, just round this off so it's nice and sort of finishes the wing. However, the leading edge is going to have 1, 2, at least 3 layers of covering and glue and paint and everything. So that might be a wait until after job as well, I think. And then potentially, God forbid, a couple of self-tappers. Or riv nut, might even put a riv nut just in that location. Although I've only got metric riv nuts and all the rest will be oddballs. So, Imperial is what I'm trying to say. I'm happy with that. That's good. So that'll clear that up nicely. Let's get the other side to that stage and we'll call those done. How good's that? I love it when a plan comes together. So I haven't even touched that template. All I did was flip it over and that's perfect. So we'll cut another one of those, do the same again. The way I got on the other side, I put a bit of blue tack, just stuck a bit of blue tack on the head of this bolt, wound the metal down, pulled it off, and luckily the blue tack stuck to the metal, and I drilled through the blue tack, got that hole nice. It says a lot for your confidence in that when your templates are nicely mirror imaged, so I'm really happy with that. I've got to be a bit careful. I don't want to do it too slack because the whole idea is I'm filling the gap, so I don't want a huge gap after I do all this work. I'm happy down the back there to have a little bit of breathing space, but not 4 inches. So, really happy with those. All right, both panels are on. I've upsized those to 3/16 in preparation for some anchor nuts. Yeah, 3/16. Those side panels are on. These are going to come off and go under the bench till final fit. Like I said on the other side, that'll wrap around. I've just got enough to maybe pop a couple of riv nuts after it's covered or into the spar, which will be metric. I've got metric riv nuts. That's okay, I'll put 2 in there, may paint them red or something so I remember. Now I'll take the panels off and I'll sit there and do 2, 4, 6, 12 anchor nuts. Anchor nuts seem to take forever, but I'll get those in and push on. Alright, what's going on here then? So this is how I do the anchor nuts. Put the bolt in backwards, drawing a rough centre line just to keep these things straight. It's easy for them to wander a bit. And back drill my 2, will they be 16th holes, pull it apart, flip the anchor nut around, deburr it, rivet it on, and they should be in the right spots. I haven't got a, I know you can get a little anchor nut template. I did make one up a while ago, but I seem to have lost it. I'll do the other side and then we'll get these anchor nuts on. So all clecoed, no use cleco on the other side because I'm about to pull them off and flip them over. These 12-inch drill bits make easy work. You can sort of flex it across out of the way, and doesn't necessarily have to be vertical because it's only sheet metal, about 32 thou thick there. Flip those over, cleco and rivet both sides. I've done the other side. This side's doing both sides at once. Never have much luck with these anchor nuts. I find you sort of need to run a tap halfway through. Well, what I might do this time is chop up a bolt and run a bolt through in the drill once they're riveted on, because they're very tight. And I know they're meant to be tight so they lock, and if you run a tap all the way through, it just becomes like a nut and they just vibrate. The screws can vibrate out. But these are Phillips head screw, mushroom head screws I'm going to put in there. I'll get it right now so I'm not mucking around with a nice freshly painted wing. Okay, wing root panels. I've left the plastic on. The numbers that annoy me at the moment, but that's okay because these are going to get thrown under the bench. Got all the screws in and really happy with those. I think I covered why I'm not going to bolt this on just yet, because that'll all sit down a bit better. I'm not going to bolt these on just yet under here because this wing is going to grow substantially. Like this bolt will be covered with fabric, so it'll all sort of pucker up a bit, and it may end up even just being self-tappers into the spar. Or we'll see how we go. Actually, I can rivet another piece onto that. Maybe an option to wrap it right around and come down. Might even do that. But we'll call those done. I need to free up the anchor nuts as usual. I learnt that on the cruiser. They're just very tight. And I might just find some rubber, see what I need. Put some rubber on there now for aesthetics. It's starting to look a bit messy. You know, I'm playing with my wing struts. I'll get those cut. They need to be done before I pull the wings off. I'm actually going away for a holiday tomorrow for a week overseas. So I just want to get everything sorted, and then we'll pull the wings off. So what can we do today? This is the problems I have. Oh, so here's another one for you guys. So I mentioned I made the elevator trim. I found a solution to that. I'm going to take it off. I'm not going to have elevator trim. We're going to go without. We'll go without elevator trim. We'll do the old-fashioned way, like trimming a free flight model, and just measure it first before I fly it to get it close. That's the elevator trim removed. All right, guys, exciting times, but pretty boring to document. But anyway, I'm going through right hand, top wing, bottom skin. So this will go this way. I'm just I guess I call this mapping it out. So I need a patch up here to be able to access that bolt should the rider need. I may even mark these like that could just be a covered patch, like a just in case. Adjusting. 2 there for, once again, just in case. I need to get to those. So they might just be painted over, I think. That's what I'm thinking at the moment. 1 there, trailing edge, leading edge. I need, so that's the turnbuckles. Oh, coming back a step, I missed some already. For the struts, I've got this side, which is fine. Remembering the bolt is way up, the attachment bolt is way up in there. So I need to be able to get my hand and the bolt in there, knock it in, and this panel will come, well this panel will come off, sorry, this one will come off. So I remember I designed that so I can get the nut on. So we need a donut or a ring there. That's just on this one wing. I've still got a couple more to go. So at the root, I need 3. So the wing separates here. I need to be able to get my hand in here somewhere to aid in connecting my aileron control rod. Bear in mind this can move as I move the ailerons, and the first one I could almost pull it out when it's not connected on both sides. Also to get my wing attachment bolt, which has a nut, which also helps to hold this rib in place. So I need to get to this nut. So we'll put a ring there. Trailing edge, I need to get the bolt. I need to be able to get up and in to get the bolt in to start with, and then one on the back to get the nut on to hold the wing on. Once again, that's just peace of mind. So 3 at the root. So I'm just going along. I'll do, well, the top surface is pretty much okay, I think. Probably just the bottom surface of each wing, being 5 wings, including the middle section. And I'll just document what I need and put those under the bench for Ron, for later on. All right, pretty boring stuff, guys, but gives me an idea of what I need. So right hand and obviously left hand wing is identical. I've just gone through and now I can do away The orange ones mean I'll leave these ones covered. They're for my turnbuckles. That'll just be a ring covered and painted. It's there in the future if I ever need it. That's what I'm thinking. Although it's just as easy to cut it out and put a panel on, isn't it? Top wing, bottom skins. Bottom wing, bottom skins. 4 ailerons. Just need hinge access in case the hinge was to ever come undone. Right hand, top wing. Right and left hand, top wing, left skin. All it has is the cutout for the cable exit, so that's nice to know, so it's going to be all smooth. Same on the lower wing. Bottom wing, top skins is just the 2 panels I've made, nothing else. And 4 panels in the centre section. Means I need 40 rings and approximately 18 panels. I'm guessing, like for the turnbuckles, I probably need to have a peak in there, don't I? So, for the sake of it, I might as well just make those removable panels. Yeah. Once you got to glue the ring on anyway, so I might as well just cut it out, I guess. Right, so I mentioned that I was going away next week. It's a good chance to put an order in and then let the mailman come while I'm away. Aircraft spruce in Australia only takes, if you order on the Monday, sometimes you get it on the Friday. So it's pretty good. I don't use the guy in Australia because he burnt me once and he's not going to do it again. So what have I got so far? I've got, what did we say I needed? I need 18 panels. These are only a couple of bucks each. If you don't know, so you glue the ring on and then the panel just slides in and you go flying like that and you can slide the panel out. Or they may even, they do also click. You can turn them inside out, so it's now concave, and then it actually over centres and clicks back in. But it's easier, I think, just to slide them across. They're bloody sharp, actually. Need a good clean up. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. I got 11, which seems very odd. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So I've got 11. I've probably had one out showing people and it may be floating around. Because I wouldn't have ordered 11, I wouldn't have thought. So anyway, got the rings. I need some more panels. I've got exactly 40. That was a good guess. I need 40. I might get a couple more just in case. They're just a little Teflon ring that'll get glued on. This will all make sense when I start covering. So just getting things in order. So Mr. Basley sent me, what have I got? 4 rolls of 2-inch, there it is there. 2-inch finishing tape, 50 yards each. And I've got 55 feet of 4-inch leading edge tape, 55 feet. Interestingly, it's 28-foot wingspan. 28 feet times 2 is 56. Minus the fuselage, I guess, which is, say, 3 feet. And you want to have a little bit of overhang, don't you? Anyway, we're very tight on that, so thanks, Robert. Now, that was supplied. Now I've bought this, that's that fabric tape that'll go on like I've done up here. Basically, everything will get wrapped, all the rivet heads will get wrapped in this tape. And I sort of collected this as I put an order in. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rolls there, $20 a roll. 1,000 razor blade, or how many razor blades? 50 pack, overestimated just a touch. 50 razor blades, might need some more of those. Oh, I did. And 100, so I've got 150 razor blades. They're those single edge ones. So basically every cut will get a new blade pretty much. Plenty of razor blades. This tape, there's 2 rolls there. That goes on the rib stitching, before the rib stitching rivets. Yeah, once again, if you aren't sure, so all the ribs, it depends on the speed of the aircraft. I think I'm 2.5 or 3 inches. It's a bit ambiguous in the book. The prop wash, in the prop wash area, so you've got an 80-inch prop, so 40 inches out this way, so those 2 ribs and the tail might be a tighter gap, let's call it 2 inch or 2.5 inch, and then as we move out, you can go out to 3 inch spacing. So I need to drill a hole in every rib I've got going on here. Excuse my pile of wood I've got going on down there. I'm doing a bit of a Shawshank Redemption and slowly getting rid of that whenever I find a bin. So yeah, drill the holes, covering on, relocate the holes. That fiberglass tape will go on, and then we pop rivet down through. I'll get some wide head rivets for that application, I think. What else we got? Got some darker pencils, HBs or whatever. Just had those floating around at home. Amazon's your friend. There's what did I say before? 1,000 razor blades, so there's probably 4,000 brushes there. I don't know, 20, I might even say. Maybe, I won't even guess. There's a heap of paint brushes, a couple of bucks, and some foam brushes. I need to use the foam brushes to spread the filler into the weave. So that's my little covering kit. So I'll order some more. What did we say? We got, let's call it 10 of those, and I need 18, or do we do all 40? I'll think about that. It's not a cost thing, it's just panels can fall off, whereas if I just leave a hole covered, the wing just covered, see what you can do is glue this on and just leave the fabric over it, so it's there in the future if you ever need to punch it out, and then you'd fill it with a panel. I may do that on a few things, because I don't think my hinges are going to come loose, but it's just in case. There we go. That's my covering supplies. We'll see what's next. I have got some glue that's stored away here in my hazardous chemicals, if you like. This was supplied with the kit. So I've got the adhesive, 2 of those. They're probably 500 mil, so a litre of that. And 2 of these, which are, let's call that a litre of filler, 2 of those. So 2 litres of filler, 1 litre of glue. Now that's pretty sure it's Stewart's system. However, I've since found out that under here as well, so Stewart's system sort of has this colour when you shake it up, and there's also a clear version. But here's a tip: if you go on and order 3M 30 NF, I think it is, it's exactly the same stuff. The story on the street is Stewart's system went off and got it certified for certified aircraft, but it's basically a 3M product, and it's a lot cheaper to do it that way. But I didn't tell you that. Alright, I'm on a roll and a bit lost with what to do, because I really need to pull it apart. I think it's time to bite the bullet and start covering this bad boy, or working towards that. So, drawn up this section, I'm just going to measure where these cables will penetrate with a straight edge. And that'll tell me, this will represent the covering, and I'll just document. I was going to make big templates, but I think if I measure accurately, it should be okay. So I'll measure those up, document top and bottom elevator cable. Probably the same for the rudder, although that's going to be a panel. This side will be okay. I'll just do the rudder on the left-hand side, and should be good. All right, guys, so there you go, another week of building, a little bit interrupted, heading off on holidays. Just wanted to get a video out, I guess, so there's something for you guys to look at. It's been a while. Made some progress, made a few changes. Elevator trim went on and came off. I'm not going to do that. Got the wing panels on. When I come back, I'm going to tee up a few mates and we're going to pull the top wings off. Start with that. I'm going to hook in and start covering this bad boy. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.